We're just two friends who love the movies, call each other every morning.
Hey, Mitch. Good, good to chat with you. I first of all have to apologize if you hear me talking to the baby. Vanessa and the kids, they're not here, so she actually took them to the movies. So
Are
I'm
they
here.
going to watch the Sheep Detectives as well?
No, 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 no. They went to go watch Mortal Kombat. Uh,
Oh, funny.
yeah, so she had really wanted to watch that, and I was like, well, we didn't want to grab a sitter last minute, so I told them y'all can just go ahead and I'll just stay with the baby. So that's
Well, that's good. Actually, the thing that I asked Sam if we could talk about, in lieu of our normal movies broadcast, is his new album, Magnolia.
yep. Well, yep. I've been yeah, man. It's been a long time coming, hasn't it, Mitch?
It has been a long time coming, man, and I gotta say, it really came together, and it flows in a way that I wasn't expecting. I got to listen to it. Well, it dropped yesterday, right? Yesterday, and I
Yeah.
got to listen to it all the way through for the first time unbroken. I had gotten to experience it. I had a Google Drive folder, and so I was kind of clicking around and looking back at the track list and trying to listen in order and trying to get a sense of it. But hearing it all together in one continuous piece, I was excited at how well it flowed. It felt epic. It felt cohesive, but not in obvious ways.
Yeah.
Kind of like the its namesake movie, Magnolia by Paul Thomas Anderson. And look, I mean, if you're cool with it, I'd kind of like to go and just sort of maybe get some. I don't know. We might can get some behind the scenes coverage from you, and I'll kind of give my reactions to it
Yeah.
as
I
well.
mean, how do you want to do it? Do you want to do it track by track? Do you think that would be we could like just
I don't want to take all day because it's like 18 tracks, right? But yeah, I kind of at least want to just go through it in order.
yeah.
Eh,
So I guess we'll start with your favorite track of the album, 82% Chance of Rain.
I don't
Um,
know what it was about track one, 82% chance of rain, but I could tell that the person delivering the monologue was handsome. And like you can't always know that just by listening to a track, but
yeah.
in this case, I was able to discern that. Is that true? I mean, am I right about that? Or
Yeah, he's probably the ugliest person I know. No,
so
but not in all seriousness though. Even before I think that was the first idea for a trek that I had. Like I knew it needed to be kind of like the introduction of the movie Magnolia, and I knew
yes,
that you were going to be doing it because I mean, not only have you been a fan of my music from the beginning, but like the movie Magnolia means so much to the both of us. So I was like, well, this is already a given. I mean, that's going to be the first track. It just, funny enough, it was the last track that was made, you know?
yeah,
So,
that's right.
yeah,
Well,
man.
right. So it's meant to pay homage to the opening monologue, just the show stopping. You don't want to stop your show at the very beginning of your movie, but this is a show stopping opening monologue for the movie Magnolia,
Yeah,
which I can't in any way compete with. But I think it was a good idea to kind of set up the concept of your album
yeah.
as interacting with that movie and interacting with the concepts and themes of that movie,
And the
and also
characters
to
as
give a
well.
chance, yeah, and to give a chance for that to happen in the album because the album has different characters, and
Yeah.
I really appreciate the invitation because I enjoyed interacting with the album in that way, and and I enjoyed writing that. You always feel like you could have. I'm sure you feel this way. You always feel like you could do more with something, with an opportunity, but
Yeah.
I enjoyed it and try not to, get too stuck on it. But so that sets up the album. It sets up the concept. It sets up what it's alluding to, and then you go into Wasteland,
Yeah.
which this is one that Lori texted me about immediately when she was listening to the album. Not only I think because it's first, but she brought it up again later. She really liked this one. I do too. I think it's cool, and I can't stop doing this. There's this moment where I think speaks to your sort of instincts as an artist that you can't really like. Uh, it's not something someone would do naturally, or if they were just trying to follow the rules of songwriting. But
Yeah.
there's this great moment in like maybe the second verse where you just start, you kind of get record stuck. I resist, I resist, I resist. I love that part, dude. I keep I keep singing it. It's just so cool. Like you're painting this picture of this area, this land, and like there's all these things vying for your attention, and you're wondering if you can, be rescued. Never mind particularly what, but and then there's that I resist, I resist, I resist. I think that's really good. What was happening when you wrote this song?
So it was, so I knew this was going to be the follow up to the intro, right? Because it kind of gives you like a map, right? And hence the album cover, which you found, right? Where it was the San Antonio, and it kind of gives you an image of this land that is in basically, I think the first line is the city sleeps, circulating pharmacy in front of me, meaning there's this city that is in shambles, right? And it completely left my mind right now, Mitch. Is it Babylon in the Bible? What's the city that is in
They have
chaos?
a hedonistic city or Sodom and Gomorrah. There's a lot of
Yes.
examples. Sidon. Yeah.
So it was that was very important to me to kind of immediately establish that we're living in this city. And when I say this city, I mean not only San Antonio, but the world that we live in right now, right? Where there's just chaos. It's just chaos. So that was what my mindset was going in with Wasteland, really.
And then you ask a question in the next track, which is "Am I crazy?" which I felt was kind of like the analog to is this all just a matter of chance kind of question that you get
Yeah.
from the movie Magnolia. Am I crazy? I quite liked.
Yeah. So, well, speaking in terms of like music itself, the plan was I not only wanted to produce some tracks here where I went in, making music on the little MIDI keyboard and with certain beats, but I also wanted to include acoustic tracks, right? So this is the first acoustic track that we have encountered, and so hold on, baby. And so immediately it starts off with that question, right? Am I crazy? And so I guess the mindset of this is it's kind of questioning my my mindset, right? Like questioning. Hold on, baby. You're okay. Sorry, and once again, sorry, folks. I have the baby, and he just had his bottle. But questioning myself, am I really a good person, or am I crazy? So this one is let me put him down real quick, Mitch. Sorry about that.
I hope we can get some lyrics to these because there's this one part where you kind of break from the music and you just kind of like tumble into this line, and it's a really cool delivery. But
Do you remember which part?
no, it's like it's where I would have to have the lyrics in front of me because I could grab it right away. But
Yeah.
it's the music shuts off and you kind of tumble into this line delivery before it picks back up into the "Am I Crazy?" refrain, and it's pretty cool. And it's one of those moments. I had several moments like this. And look, me and you talk every day. If anybody
Yeah.
listens to this show, they listen to us talk every day. And
Yeah.
we're a couple of we goof off and you make stupid voices and so like when I'm listening to something like this and I'm like, dude, how did that come out of him? It's just like there's sometimes moments in this album where I'm like, where did that come from? No, I guess that's the muse. I guess that's the spirit. But
So are you asking if like in terms of like how because I know before you've always questioned if I've written certain songs. Is that what you're trying to say?
oh
Is
no,
like
it's not. It's not like that. Yes, I have accused Sam of plagiarizing in jest, but finally, his distributor that he uses called him out for it and took his album down, which is why it couldn't go up on May 2nd. They said, "Sir,
yeah.
you cannot plagiarize." I said,
And
"I knew it. I knew it."
what was crazy, Mitch, is it was a single bing, 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 bing. That was
Yeah,
it.
of a metronome. Amy Mann can't have a copyright on a metronome,
I
but
know.
instead we had to lose that part. But I let's not belabor the point. Fantasy Reality is the next track. And look, I'm glad you mentioned, yeah, that was the first acoustic one on here. I think what's cool about this album, and I'm not going to call it your opus yet, but it mixes a lot of what you've been doing since you've been doing music, which is just guy with guitar stuff, and then
Yeah.
you know the sort of experimenting with more like hip hop stuff, soundscape stuff, monologue stuff that you've been doing over the course of the past 6 years of you publishing music.
Yeah.
And but Fantasy Reality has some of that good soundscaping stuff. It brings back Brittany. How do you say your last name?
Brittany Caden or Cat Caden
You don't
Cat.
know how to say her name?
Oh, dude, it's Brittany Kate. I always forget how to pronounce it's Brittany Caden,
Uh,
but
but
I've collaborated with her before.
yeah,
She's awesome. I mean, her part in the track really makes like really brings that track to even making it
and
better.
you get another collaboration with someone who showed up on your album before, your mother.
Yes.
Her part in this song, dude, it gives me chills. Just like in Born,
Yeah.
similar to her song Born, from your album Born Loser, which is one of my favorites. She kind of I assume it's like a voicemail or something that you've downloaded, but she just
Yeah.
kind of life into you. She gives you some like Christian encouragement. She reminds you of your origins, and it's really powerful. And it was a big part of too. Like I don't mean to keep coming back into the monologue as if it's an important part, but I'm just trying to illustrate that there were things that stood out to me as I listened through as very meaningful. And this was one of those parts. She's like, "This is who you are. This is what your destiny is," and that is the kind of inheritance that you take with you into this wasteland that we're going to be traversing throughout the album.
Yeah, I mean, you said it perfectly, Mitch. I mean, my mom is, as you know, a big part of my life. She's always been there in terms of, being just a very spiritual figure. I can imagine if my mom had lived back in the Bible days, she would have been like like one of those prophets, right? She would have been walking the land, just kind of spreading the word, right?
Like,
Yeah, having my mom be a part of that, especially that track where it's in a time of need, right? And that's why I have those sounds of the news, showing because there's I don't know if you know this, I'm sure over there in Georgia as well. There's just a lot of violence going on, especially with young people, right? And
down.
our younger generation, Mitch. That's who's going to be leading tomorrow and the days after, so it was very important for me to have her part of this track.
Well, not to demystify you too much, my dude, I'm going to go into the next track. So here's what happens. Now, I feel like so far, there's been like this preface, then there's been this entrance into this realm. San Antonio is like the cipher for you fill in the blank, a
Yeah.
place that's in turmoil. And then you get your first kind of character story. It's somebody who's telling you about their life. This song called Landman to me
Yeah.
is like a Bruce Springsteen blue collar factory man. I mean, it's a track that's a story, that's a character. and it's quite good. And what I like about it the most, and when you first sent me an early draft of it, I really latched onto this. And again, I kind of alluded to it in the opening monologue. Is he says I work toward, and he doesn't say
Yeah.
what. He just I move forward, I work toward, and just kind of trails off. And to me, that's very evocative because there are so many ways you can kind of take that. And I assume different people will take it in lots of different ways. But I like that part a lot.
Yeah, well, something you don't know is that on an earlier draft of that, when I was writing that, I filled in the blanks, right? Um, I filled in the blanks of I worked toward, yeah, I think one of them was something related to family or, supporting. It didn't feel right, it didn't feel right. And I like no matter what I put in there, it just it was not flowing. It just was not flowing in terms of musically, but thematically, it didn't connect with me. And then I just left it as is. And I felt like, you know what, this is something where whoever listens to it, right, whoever will connect with it, they'll put in whatever they want to put in there. They have it in their heart. And this track is well, I have to say the track title itself, right, and maybe the kind of the character, somewhat is kind of based off of the show Landman, right?
Yeah, I figured
Um,
Billy Bob Thornton.
you have this oil man played by the great Billy Bob Thornton, which I would hope. I know he's into music. I would hope to try to get this track, in like in his direction, right? Because I think he'd be into
But
something like acoustic, right? Like this. But yeah, man, this track is also very personal in that a lot of the stuff that I had in there is true life. That in the summers, my dad would have us out in the fields. We worked the fields. I worked, picking, fruit,
if
picking vegetables, and
Samuel Colunga, you know
what?
that he was picking as
Well, I mean,
the ice.
oh, go ahead.
No, I'm ripping on you. I'm going to keep us moving. Excuse me, Trailer Trash is in the same tradition as Landman in that it's introduces another character, another
Yeah.
story, and the person inhabiting this wasteland. This person has a very tough story, and
Oh yeah.
he, I think both of these, like, they're tinged with hope, Landman and Trailer Trash. They kind of have something dismal or outright, truly, truly, truly rough in Trailer Trash's case, but they're tinged with hope. They have a silver lining, which kind of keeps you on the tour, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Well,
For those of you who are filling out your Sam Colunga artist interview bingo cards, you can go ahead and check off the "this song is very personal" box. That one's for
no, 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 no. There's obviously, and I hate when artists say, "Oh, there's nothing there's nothing personal in this or whatever." There's always gonna be something personal in every song that you write, right? But this one, it's like you said, there's a silver lining. And if you got anything out of it, it's that no matter what you happens in life, you can take something that is a negative and turn it into something that is a positive. So
yeah, and Ms. Eladio, it's a
yes.
cover of a Tin Rice song that Sam.
No, it's not.
No, what does it mean? Everybody's wondering.
So Miss Eladio is a track that I've told you before. This Magnolia is an album that I've always wanted to make, right? So Miss Eladio was a track that at I was debating on putting it in Born Loser or Magnolia. Back when I was making Born Loser, this is a track that almost made that album, but it just for some reason it just didn't feel right. This track is based off my wife's father, who passed away a few years ago.
Right.
His name was Horatio, right? So
Uh-huh.
this is a play off of his name, while also a play off of misfortune, right? So it's yeah, and somehow I just came up with the name Miscellario because I just liked it, right?
Because
And go ahead.
it's unusual.
Yeah, and it's unusual, and it sounds like it could be a guy's name, right? So yeah, this song is once again scratch it off your bingo card. It's very personal in that it was gonna be on Born Loser, but ended up being on this one, and I was saving it for this album because I had written it for my wife's dad, um, and so yeah, that's the story behind that one.
Years later, we see that there's a big spike in the name Miseladio, and nobody can understand why. Uh, but Traffic is the next one.
Yeah,
And so if you've got three songs in a row that were kind of like, here's a character spotlight, here's a character spotlight, here's a character spotlight, this one zooms back out. It's like if you're watching a musical and suddenly, you've had these solos or these soliloquies from different characters, but now you've got like this big, think of the opening scene of La La Land. In fact,
yeah.
yes, these are in Traffic. You get little miniature highlights of different people, and they wonder what would happen if they took a route. You might remember, Academy Award fans might remember this getting nominated for Best Sound Design last year, for the way it incorporates the sounds of traffic. It's really good, I actually think, in that respect.
Yeah, I mean, I had tried out having the sounds of traffic with some instrumentals, but it didn't mix well. And I tried my best to kind of try like mix it as best as possible, but it didn't feel right. And so I was like, let me just try this without let the traffic sounds be the music, right? Let the traffic sounds be the background instrumentals. And for me, yeah, I have to say I think it worked. I mean, I don't know about for you, but and for those who listen to it, but for me it worked really well. And it's like you said, it's funny that you say La La Land because that was one of the inspirations for this track. I mean, the previous tracks were about single characters, right? But this track it focuses on two separate characters, you know. So yeah, I really enjoyed making this one.
For those of you listening from the safety of your home at night, maybe take a shot every time Sam says track. This next one, I said on the first one, like I didn't know how you could tell, like, the person giving the monologue was handsome, but somehow you could. On this next track called Bliss, I feel like you can tell the singer is extremely beautiful, extremely beautiful.
Yes,
Uh,
Miss, and I've heard things that she's way out of her husband's league. So
well, you
yeah,
get that from the delivery of the lyrics too. Well, look, here's the deal. It's Mrs. Caps on the track, making her Spotify debut
it's
on
who?
Samuel.
Did you say Mitch
It's
Caps?
it's Mrs. Caps, Mrs.
Oh,
Caps.
I thought you said Mitch Caps. I was like, what?
I didn't
Yes.
sing this. No, this is for so many reasons. I obviously am biased, but I think anybody would tell you with a brain in their noggin that Lori's got a great voice, and
Oh, she
she does a
does.
great,
Yeah.
beautiful piano song that Sam wrote. Maybe my favorite part about this song is that I have the original draft of Samuel singing it, saying I'm just a girl. And so next time he tries to pull out his little girl voice on me, just gonna play.
You just
But
you're gonna
yeah,
play the draft.
I think I I wish I think I wanted there. I remember I wanted there to be a verse that was just Sam, but I'm glad that you did do some vocals on the chorus. I think they sound really great. It's a beautiful song.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote this song from the perspective of a woman, right? And it did not feel right for me to sing it, and so I had asked Mitch if he could ask Lori to because I obviously she's great at the piano and she's just a great singer in general, and so I was like, oh, I'd like to see her version of it because she's done other tracks of mine before, but it's just never released. So.
She
Um,
did covers of yours. Did she do Gold or something?
she
Did
did
she ever cover?
great. She did a mixture, remember, for my birthday?
We did a medley of all those trumpets and grapes for a birthday
Yes.
present. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so next was one specific reason, which again I think this is a very Magnolian concept, and it struck me when I first heard it. You know, the things that are going on in someone or in the world aren't just for one specific reason, and in fact, the reasons are so far beyond what we, from our limited perspectives, could ever appreciate. I think this song thematically helps expand, what's going on in this album as a concept. Really, really solid short track.
In what way would you say it kind of helps? Like, I'm curious to know your thoughts on it.
Basically, that one specific reason. Everybody's looking for a reason of what's going on in Babylon. How did it get to be like this? Why are we doing this to each other? Well, there's not one specific reason. I mean, and you in the song take it down to a microscopic level.
Yeah.
It's kind of like one person trying to think about, I guess, like his partner, his wife, or whatever it is. In my mind, this was like you're writing about Vanessa or something, but I think it scales all the way up to anybody trying to figure anything out, and the answer just being there isn't one specific reason.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit it exactly there. I This is one of those that I wanted to include another short track, and I wanted to kind of make it open to interpretation, right? And in a way, it kind of I was I was writing it with Vanessa in mind, obviously, but yeah, I mean, you know me, Mitch. I mean, we've talked about it so many times about how I love some short tracks. So this is one that I was absolutely happy to include.
And then get a hard turn into some of the stuff that I guess Sam's really been experimenting with over the past couple of years. I mean, he released a full album in conjunction with his brother Jordy Mack, artist named Jordy Mack, and it's great. What was that album called, Sam, that you did with him?
Brother from Another Mother.
That's a great fun album, but it's kind of cutting his teeth, and they're both kind of like it's a really beautiful album because it's sort of about them connecting their story and also like interacting with each other's separate, I should say, genres, and just those collaborations are always meaningful for that reason. But this one, we're looking at you, Spurs team owners, Spurs players, Spurs coaches, Spurs water boys, Spurs we want you putting this all over TikTok. This is about being from San Antonio, being a Spurs fan, being in the San Antonio cuisine.
Yeah.
Whether you're growing up here or you're an expatriate here,
Yeah.
this is for you.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. This was one of the tracks I made later, like towards the end of making the whole album. And I knew that I had to have him in there, and I knew since he is an artist from San Antonio, I was like, I have to include him in some way. And so yeah, I was like, let me make this track, and so 210 is the track.
And it's the city that you come from. And
Yeah,
then in the
there you
next track,
go.
it's an intermission, which I think it's useful for the sort of cinematic air that this whole album has. You've partnered with another hip hop artist,
Yeah.
I'm assuming local area. I think he says it's 60. Is that how he pronounces it?
Yeah, so it's he goes by It's 60, and he's actually an artist out from California that
Oh, cool.
I got linked up with through Jordy Mack, and yeah, I mean, he wanted to be a part of it in some way, and so initially he was going to be in 210, but I felt like that was already too, just I felt like since it was a short track, two people was enough. And so obviously he's from California, so it didn't feel right for him to be in a song about San Antonio. So I had him do the intermission and reworked some things, and yeah, man, it was a lot of fun collabing with him, trying to get the right sound, and it was fun working on this track in general.
Well, I gotta ask you about the next track. I think it's
Oh,
funny.
before
Weird way. Oh, go ahead.
before before we go, and I'm glad you mentioned it, but my monologue in there is from Magnolia. It's something
Oh,
that John C. Riley says at the very
that's
end.
right. and I was glad because it's mostly It's 60 in this song, kind of like Bliss is pretty much all Lori. But I like that you enter into these songs if you're still presiding over it. You're still sort of the main character in this journey, or like the MC, or like the shepherd. And yeah, I did like, again, to, from the first track, Wasteland has an actual audio clip from Magnolia, and then this one, you recreate John C. Riley's great monologue to his love interest in Magnolia,
Yeah,
Claudia.
but
And
I replace it with Vanessa. So
yeah, it's good, really good. I think it's a nice personal touch. And the next track it's funny and strange and interesting. And what is Follow Jesus all about?
well, this is the turning point. Obviously, after the intermission, right? This is where things start getting a little bit, where they start turning a new leaf, right? And for me at least, I see it. I don't know if you see it or anyone else, but just thematically and just I don't know, the whole vibe of it feels like it's a completely separate, like it's its own little album from here on out, right? But Follow Jesus is it's it's something that my mom would always try to implement into us, is like, you need to follow Jesus, right? You need to you need to follow him. And so in this, it's a funny track, but it's also
Guys, it's not a comedy track. It's hard to explain exactly how it's funny. It's got like a whimsicalness to it, like a kind of like a levity to it, that you just have to listen to experience. And what you're saying is interesting at being a turning point, and it's something that your mom used to say. In the track Fantasy, on the little voicemail she has, she's saying, I always remember Jesus as Lord, kind of like follow your destiny. And you have to go through all this muck and mire to even get to the place where you can receive what she said. But in this one, it is like you're being born again. And in the track I referenced earlier that has your mom's voicemail on it, a little cohesion there among your discography, like that's the born part of the track, is
yeah,
the born again track. And here you wake up, like it's like I wake up, so the eyes are opened and there's a
yeah,
new perspective on the back half of the album. Really, really cool.
yeah. So that was the intention, is just where born was obviously I'm being born again. Follow Jesus is like, I've gone through all this chaos in my life, and I'm ready to, like, as she stated many times before to me and my brothers, I'm ready to follow Jesus and take a new route.
And watch
So
what's guys, because the perspective actually does shift. The next track is That's All Right by Me, and it's like a song of acceptance. It's a Wonderful Life George Bailey song. So he's talking about all these things never gonna get. Now I'm not gonna see the world, okay? But instead he's like, no man is a failure to his friends, and he just talks and it's like, here's where I could be, but here's actually a beautiful thing that I'm experiencing instead. Or even here's an annoying or frustrating thing that I'm experiencing, and here's the silver lining to it. It even has one of my favorite lines, like he talks about Kool-Aid being spilled on the carpet. He's like, now my carpet smells like cherry or something. I really like that line for some reason,
you
but
you
it's
know
so
I I've been getting a lot of feedback about that line, and the line is not exactly this, but the line is, I may not walk a red carpet, but and then it goes into my kids spilled Kool-Aid on the carpet, and I just stepped in it and it smells like cherry. So I may not walk down that, Hollywood red carpet, but I'll for sure be I'll have my I don't want to say sanity, but I'll have that time with my kids at home, and that's beautiful in itself, right? I may not have this glamorous life, but that's okay.
okay.
And I have to say, Mitch, and I know you'll probably disagree with me,
Classic Sammy line. Bingo card.
but this is probably my favorite track in the album. It was one of the most fun I had, like, writing it. It was one of the most fun I had playing it, adding instrumentals to it. And I love the whole Robert Downey Jr. line, where it's like Robert Downey Jr. will make more money for one film than I'll ever see in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Which is it's funny to me at least, but it's so freaking sad, to think that you have all these big celebrities who, all they do is they'll work on one film, and then that's more money than I mean, it's the truth, I'll ever see in my lifetime.
Well, movie imagery in your pocket because it's going to resurface as we get towards the end. But then there's Father to Father, which is a
Yep.
touching track about Sam, who's recently just had a newborn, and also, his father is a big influence on his life. And here it's just kind of bridging the gap, like, it's asking questions about what am I going to be as a father, or what were you to me as a father, as this sort of intergenerational musings in sort of a lightly hip hop casing. So more experiments with that, but Sam riding solo on this one. So
Yeah.
uh,
So
yeah, go.
my Jordy Mac actually inspired me to just do it solo. He was like, just try to rap it, try something different with it, and I did. And here's the thing, Mitch. This one is I. I was like, I tried to imagine how I was sitting down, if I was sitting down with my dad right now and I asked him, you know, advice on how to be a dad, right? And and the only thing I could think of, right? And this is me just laying in bed late at night, and I was like, if my dad were here, what advice would he give me? What advice would he give me about being a father? And the only thing that came to mind, and I immediately wrote it down in my notes, was love as I have loved you, right? And
Yeah,
I thought the same thing about if I sat down with God and I asked him, right? Like any advice on being a father, it would simply be love as I have loved you. Love as I have loved you. So I really did feel like my dad was reaching out to me on this one, giving me this word, these words of advice. So
yeah.
yeah,
It's like that's a verse. I feel like that's in like John 17 or something. I'll have to look that up later. But when I heard it in the song, I thought I think that's a Bible verse. So
it may
very
have been. Yeah,
potent. The next song is called "The Last Time," and it's a concept you and I have talked about quite a bit. But I mean, it's not an unfamiliar concept, but it's just got Sam's particular, the things that he thinks about, the things that he appreciates in life, the things that he would miss, the things that are gone, the things that aren't gone yet, but certainly will be. It's about mortality, but I mean, it's just a powerful reminder. You'd do yourself a favor if you listen to the song once every morning when you get up, because man, nothing's gonna last forever in this life, and just to appreciate it, just to know that that today I can see the color green. Today I can hear something that may not be. Today I'm talking to my mom on the phone. It may not be true tomorrow.
yeah,
Today you and I are gonna talk about this. So it's it's tying the whole album together. I feel in the same way that that's all right with me. Kind of just says, well, like yeah, we're in this situation. I mean, you could look around and it's bleak, but at the same time, it's like collect the beauty to buck up against the darkness. I don't know.
yeah. Well, I have to say this part. A little bit of the inspiration for this was, you remember the Aziz Ansari joke that he would say about, not really a joke, but we only have so many holidays left. Do you
Yeah.
remember that?
You got you go twice a year to see your parents. Their on average lifespan is 75. That means you got 12 more hangings with your parents. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's really kept. It's like that. Yeah.
yeah. So I thought that was very, very deep, and that was part of the inspiration for this. And I have to say, I've been kind of collecting a little census for people who have been listening to the album, and this one has came out on top, as one of well, actually their favorite track on the whole album. So
Everybody,
really,
you know,
what's that?
it's universal. I'm not surprised that everyone would connect with this.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's a very I mean it's hard for me to listen to it sometimes because of how heartbreaking and painful and just like yeah, I mean I'm if you I know you've doubted my songwriting before, but this is a track where I definitely would kind of question like did I
in the
actually write this one?
documentary about Sam, underneath my name it says Sam Song Doubter. But forgetting we're already in the longest ever movie called podcast episode, and I'm about to have to go. But where the next track is the title track.
Yep.
What do you think?
Well, Magnolia, just real quick. I mean, the movie itself is a long movie, and I wanted to make this track one of the shortest. And in it, I wanted to cover a few different people. You have a old man whose wife is dying from cancer. You have these little kids, right? These characters, and I wanted to make something. I wanted to make the album track, right, the Magnolia track, to be just lighthearted, right? I feel like, especially after the last time, it was just going to be like this heavy track. So, yeah, I mean, just going into it real quick, don't want to take up too much time. I just wanted to make a very lighthearted track while also covering many characters.
So you get back to what we did in Traffic, where you got several characters being covered in one song, different vibe. The final track is the one that when you sent it to me the first time as a draft, I thought, man, that is next. Like this is gonna be the chosen one.
This is going to be
And
the cinema.
yeah, so cinema, it's 40 something thousand at this point. People really connected with that song on Spotify,
Yeah.
and who knows where elsewhere. But this one, similarly, again, it's related to movies. So it's it's Sam's story, if I can be so bold.
Yeah.
Sam's story about his dreams. One of the last great dreamers at Sam Colunga, interacting, with his favorite director, Paul Thomas Anderson, et al., others, Spielberg, the greats. But it's just like, it's a Wonderful Life. It's Bedford Falls, and it's like it's all right with me, and because I'm still going to the movie theater, like I did with my dad coming up, and like what it wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. I'm not that guy, but heck, not a bad life, not a bad life.
Yeah, Mitch. I mean, this song is very powerful for me because it was a track of acceptance of like, you know what, I have done a lot, and to be honest with you, I would not trade Vanessa or the kids for any dream that I have. They've become my life, and at the end of the day, I still have the movies. I still have the movie
Carpet,
theater
it
down the
just
street.
it carries.
What's that?
I said you still got the red carpet anyway. It just smells like cherries in this case.
Exactly. I have the red carpet. It's just not the red carpet that I thought it was going to be, and that's life. Um, and that's what this album is. Is just I'm glad overall I was able to make it, and it's been a long time coming. I've been wanting to make this album for many, many years. When I started making music, I knew I was going to make an album called Magnolia. Um, yeah, I mean, any final thoughts? What was if you had final thoughts on your overall experience?
I just want to tell everybody to go listen to this, listen to it from start to finish in order, the way it was intended. It's like
Yep,
a cinematic experience.
yep.
It's wherever you stream music, you can find it. And I think you've outdone yourself, man. I was really enjoyed the way it came together. I liked that it was longer. It felt like an epic. It felt very personal. It felt like it was like the culmination of a lot of what you've been doing with your
Yeah.
music for a long
Would
time.
would you say this is one of your personal favorites that I've made?
I've ranked albums before, and this one's still fresh. But is this is this is this the greatest album of all time? I'm not gonna say that. Could someone, the likes of Sam, that goofball, produce something this affecting? I would just say to that question, these strange things happen all the time.